Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me at this time. My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the Divine Feminine, a love reading. So if you find this resonates with you in any way, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know how it resonates with your circumstance. Let's tap in, y'all. So it's late at night. It's almost 11 o'clock where I am. So, of course, I'll be uploading this maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow. It depends. But I am just chilling, y'all. And sometimes I want to record at night, but I don't always do it because I'm like, shoot, I got to go to my office, set up. Sometimes I just want to chill out in my bed and relax, fresh face, just got out the shower. Okay, no makeup, so don't be offended. But I just want to chill out and just do a reading for the Divine Feminine to see what you need to know about your masculine at this time. And before I got ready to do this, I found myself giving thanks to the Most High. Like, thank you that I no longer carry the baggage of these karmic exes. It's so beautiful to be able to wash your hands of toxic energy and to know that it's no longer your burden. So if y'all are grateful to finally be out of that cycle, leave a comment below. Say I'm grateful, okay? Let's tap in and see what's going on with the Divine Masculines. Are they ready for you, Divine Feminine? Let's see. Pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. So I don't know now. We're starting off a little bumpy. So, Divine Masculines are giving off some red flags. That may be an indicator that they're not ready for you, Divine Feminine. So let's just tap in and see. Considering we're not talking about karmics, we are talking about men who are rising into their divinity, who is likely your future partner. Let's see, what are the red flags? What does that mean? Matter of fact, I think I'm going to use a different deck for that one. Okay, so let's see. Red flags. The signs are cautioning you, Divine Feminine. So if you have someone in your energy now, or this could be future energy when you meet this Divine Masculine, you may notice certain patterns, certain things that just kind of stand out that's like, I don't know if he's ready, right? So let's just see, what are these signs that you should pay attention to? Because of course it doesn't mean that you completely discount that person, but consider, if for whatever reason your masculine is not ready, you have a lot of soulmates that are not karmic, okay? And you could very much so connect with a soulmate. So it doesn't mean that you have to close yourself off and it's like, okay, well, if he ain't ready, then I guess I'm gonna just sit over here and just twiddle my thumbs. You don't have to. So pay attention to the red flags. So what are the signs that are cautioning you? Try not to move the camera around too much. So I have bang, warning. Firing a warning shot as a sign of authority and control. Skips necessary steps to gain an advantage. So I'm wondering if this masculine is in the energy of doing certain things to try and warn you, like, okay, this is how we're going to move. This is how we're going to connect. And if for whatever reason you don't do something that he feels comfortable with, he does certain things that's kind of unexpected. Firing a warning shot is a sign of authority and control. Skips necessary steps to gain an advantage. So rather than putting forth the consistent effort, they do something that'll alarm you. And I guess their ultimate objective is to exert their control over the narrative of the relationship. Now, the question is, why? Why do they feel the need to do that? Because that's a strong indicator that that masculine still has healing to do, for sure. Chemistry. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. So is it that the chemistry is too much for this masculine? Is it too overwhelming to the point where this person suddenly withdraws their energy, or they do something that's sudden, but it's very loud, right? It's very obvious that they're trying to control the narrative by doing something that disrupts the chemistry in some way. Let me get one more for this warning. Flirt. Extend your lighthearted energy to others. So I'm wondering if this person, in some cases, this masculine could suddenly withdraw their energy. That's a way of firing the warning shot to exert control over the connection. Another way is maybe taking prolonged periods to respond or to call you back. It could also be them flirting with others. There's a few different types of red flags that this masculine is going to display to let you know that he is still not healed. So I need to see a little bit more clarity as to why. What is the point of this person? Because it feels like they're doing this on purpose. It doesn't feel like it's something that they're not consciously aware of, okay? It feels like they're doing this with a particular motive in mind, a particular goal, and that goal is to exert control, to gain an advantage in your connection. So let's see, why are they doing this? So I have digital detox. So this says, lost in the virtual world and neglects real life relationships, realizes the need for a digital detox and seeks clarity, feels overwhelmed by digital content and needs a break. So it's a picture of someone stepping on a phone. It looks like a masculine stepping on a cell phone. I don't know if he could be clearing people out of his energy, right? This masculine could be setting certain boundaries or blocking certain people from his energy. He feels himself doing this naturally, right? As a divine masculine, his spiritual team is likely going to guide him to release certain people. And it may not have anything to do with you per se. It could very much so have to do with him growing up, him maturing, him healing, makes him realize that some of the connections and people that he had on his call list are just not worthy of who he's becoming. And so he could be clearing certain people from his energy, but I feel like it's also creating some internal turmoil in a sense where at one point that became his codependency, being able to reach out to this person. And if that person didn't work, then you got that person over there. You got that person on the back end, that person on the side, front, back, side, center, whatever. There was always a backup. That kept him feeling like he was in control of his situations. It gave him a sense of security in his connections. This is something that he's naturally doing, though. But I feel like your energy and the chemistry that the two of you have is very much so recognized by him. And some of the connections that he is discarding from his life, it is due to him not wanting to have any conflict of interest, right? He does want to act with integrity. But at the same time, the less that he has access to these pointless individuals, right? Because they really don't serve any purpose in his life at this point. The less access that he has, the less control he feels that he has over his heart. Because that backup would at least give him a temporary illusion that, all right, it's not so bad. Okay, if she's not acting right, I can go over here and see so and so. And for a temporary moment, they can feel a sense of pleasure, excitement, numb themselves out, whatever the case may be. But to not have that codependency or that additional person, which is codependent energy, to soothe them in the moment that they're not feeling so optimistic about their connection, it leaves them feeling vulnerable. So this person could withdraw their energy just out of nowhere, just sporadically, just do things where you start to question, like, well, are we on the same page here? But it's really to exert control. Let's get another one. What is the reason why this masculine is moving like this? So this says condemnation. Public scrutiny causes you to question your worth and motives. Facing public opinion challenges your resilience and resolve. So it's something about people pointing fingers. He could have a lot of people that's condemning him or judging him or blaming him right now. What is this blame energy? Condemnation. Twin flame. So I feel like he has people around that's not, it's like they want him to feel bad about withdrawing his energy. And it could very well be that if he was in player mode at one point or led other women on to believe that there was more behind the connection than what was really there, and suddenly he's cutting them off, he could be judged at this point, and this could be overwhelming for him. So it might ignite certain emotions or make him question himself in a sense and cause him to withdraw from the connection with you at times. But you have a strong connection with this person, and there's a lot of people that don't want to accept this, even if they're not aware of what's going on. Consider another thing too that I wanted to mention is that you're going to know when it's time for you to get ready to settle down with your divine masculine, when your exes start coming out of the woodworks and they start mentioning things like marriage or settling down and throwing hints at you. You're going to know when your divine partner is coming in based on that alone. Because it's like a lot of these men that you had from your past, they can smell it, they can sense it when a true partnership is getting ready to develop in your life, divine feminine, because they're already watching you and seeing you blossom. They're seeing you go through this beautiful transformation. You're glowing, you're stronger, you're wiser, you have healthy boundaries, like you really practice self-love, and that's very attractive. It's very alluring to both the karmics and the divine masculines. So consider these exes have already been watching you level up and glow up. But they know, it's like they can sense when you are getting ready to align with someone who is likely your life partner. So if you find that exes are showing up in your energy and suddenly they're talking about settling down and wanting to get back together and all this other stuff, I'm talking about the karmic exes, it's likely because your masculine is almost ready for you, divine feminine. So don't get fooled. But consider with this twin flame card, this says souls maturing separately to bring deeper wisdom upon reunion, growing in parallel dimensions destined to intersect again, evolving separately and becoming whole individually. So this is all a part of the process. You've been putting in the work, your masculine is putting in the work, but it's causing him to question himself in certain ways here, because this is not his norm. This is not how he typically moves, okay? Let me see. How does this masculine feel about releasing their side pieces? How do they feel about leaving that lifestyle behind? This is important to know because if they feel empowered, then that shows that they are definitely evolving. If they feel like they're less of a man, or like if their ego gets bruised as a result of it, then that shows that they still need to heal and start reevaluating how they define manhood. So I have trap. Right now, This person feels like releasing these people, it makes them feel like their heart is in a vice grip and it has the potential to be completely squished. This person, your masculine, feels completely wide open and vulnerable without having that plan A, well, plan B, C, D, F, E, G, H, I, whatever, all the way to Z. They feel completely vulnerable, like their heart can completely get devoured. Let's just see. This says, drawn to deceptive allure and ignoring the hidden dangers. False promises of gain lure you into risky decisions. Mask risk present itself as a safe bet. So they're questioning everything. Because they feel like their heart is so vulnerable right now, they're questioning everything, including their decision to release certain people from their life. So they're still healing. They are not ready. Because this person should feel liberated. They should feel free. They should feel more empowered to know that having that type of self-discipline is necessary in order to align with the divine feminine. But it's not just about aligning with you. It's about them aligning with themselves, seeing their own personal value and understanding that their body is not meant to be shared with just anybody. Society has ruined the minds of a lot of men out here and has them believing that that's just a man's nature to go out and be the neighborhood penis. And so when they have to shed that identity in order to rise into their divinity and align with the divine feminine, it's a lot of internal turmoil that they are dealing with here. They're feeling very, very vulnerable. Let's see what else. How do they feel about releasing these side pieces and karmics here? Caught intentions. So this says, feels a barrier to intimacy and unable to form close relationships. Feels powerless in decision making and unable to influence outcomes. Believes conflict awaits at every turn and struggles to find common ground. Like this person feels like it's a danger zone to not have these other people in their life. I feel like they got so accustomed to unhealthy connections that the idea of having something that just feels easy, it feels peaceful, because that's what it's going to feel like with them connecting with you, divine feminine. It's going to flow. It's going to feel natural. It's going to feel very peaceful and just soft and pure. So comparing your energy to what they're used to, it feels way too different. And it's not that they don't appreciate the energy that you bring. It's just that they've become so comfortable in that uncomfortable comfort zone that anything that feels too peaceful feels like a trap to them. And just like this says, feels powerless in decision making and unable to influence outcomes. For this masculine, having multiple people that they could reach out to in those moments of insecurity made them feel like they could influence the outcome rather than feeling heartbroken or questioning, am I headed in the right direction? They could numb themselves out and distract themselves from feeling certain emotions by entertaining people that they really don't care about like that. So now they have to learn how to navigate and how to address these insecurities or these fears without using the body of a woman that they don't care about in order to numb themselves out. Because technically what they have done, many of these masculines, was they turned the woman into their drug of choice. They literally turned the woman into their drug of choice. So rather than reaching for this or that, they reach for, hey, go into their call log, dial up so-and-so. Hey, you coming over? And wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. It was a nice high in that moment. It was exhilarating. It was spicy. It was passionate. But yeah, you got to go. You can't spend a night. No. Or even if they did spend a night, there was nothing that would be a follow-up energy to allow consistency or to lead it into a relationship. So this is a scary place for these masculines. They are going through this healing phase of releasing that final bit of residual energy that gave them this false narrative of what manhood really is. So I have deadline. Focus on what can be done now and not what has been delayed. Break the cycle of procrastination with small steps. Thinks they're trapped in a procrastination cycle with no end in sight. What I'm really picking up from this card, though, is that, yes, this person is going through a major transformation and they are fighting for their lives to get to the finish line of this thing, but it's not easy for them. It's not easy to drop that baggage of unhealthy connections and unhealthy ego and this need to control narratives and this fear of being vulnerable and this fear of settling down and commitment. A lot of these masculines have fear of commitment. And that fear of commitment is largely due to codependency issues. Some of them may have a hard time admitting that to themselves. And so this is why they have to go through this process, and they're going to have to sit with themselves and really determine, what is it that makes me afraid of settling down with a good woman, a divine feminine? We're not talking about just any woman, but that's the part that has their mind so skewed and, illusions or clouded. That's why their mind is so clouded, because they have had so many different versions of the same energy in multiple women that it's almost like they expect that that energy is going to present itself again through you, divine feminine. So the toxicity of these women has given them a certain perception of what most women are like. But consider, if they never surrounded themselves with all of these different type of low vibrational energies, they will be able to naturally appreciate what you bring without assuming that that energy that was displayed by the karmics is going to eventually be displayed through you. So this is why they're feeling like they're vulnerable, and that if they put their heart out there, it's a strong possibility that they may get eaten alive by you, because you do have, it's like a vice grip on their heart, not because you're trying to create some sort of control through their emotions, but just because your feminine essence is just that alluring. It's just that magnetizing. It's just that comforting. And because you are a soulmate, it's just that familiar. You're not doing anything intentionally to put this person in a position where they feel uncomfortable. You're just being who you are naturally. But it's scary for them right now. So we also have here evaluation criteria. So this says unfair assessments and rarely sees the full picture, focuses on shortcomings and misses out on potential. So this person is making a checklist of all of the reasons. So they're making a checklist of all of the reasons why you're not who they know you are. So they're trying to find small things. This is why when we go back, if we rewind back to the initial cards that came through, we have pay attention to the red flags, and then we have the bang, which is the warning shot. This person is doing little things to try to trigger you, because they want to be able to say, oh, she seems uncomfortable with the fact that I didn't answer her text message after 3 hours, and she's sitting over there tripping. Check. Yeah, she's starting to display signs of crazy, of obsessed, of insecure, right? They need to convince themselves, even though they're purposely doing things. It's called the law of cause and effect. So they're doing things to try and incite or trigger a certain response from you, and they're checking it off on their list of reasons why this might not work. They're checking it off on their list of reasons why they should keep plan B, C, D, E, F, G in their phone so they can call them up sometimes. They're keeping a list of reasons why they should continue to flirt with others, connect with others sexually and all of these other things, because really what's behind all of that, it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own personal fears of commitment, their fear of loving openly, their fear of being vulnerable, and their fear of not having a crutch, a codependent side piece connection that they can temporarily, use as a numbing agent just in case things don't work out with you. So they are purposely aggravating certain situations. But one thing about you, Divine Feminine, is that you can't become a Divine Feminine without also being a High Priestess. You see right through this person. And I think that's another reason why things are a little scary. But you know when this person is doing things intentionally to try to incite certain emotions or certain responses from you. Look at that. I got the owl at the bottom of the deck. Guidance from above. So this says willingness to be open to the connection brings graceful understanding and enhances your presence. Clarity arises when you allow yourself to be receptive. You see everything, Divine Feminine. Okay, highly receptive to the signs of synchronicities, body language, what's not being said. You see all of that. And so even when this person does these things, you may naturally address it, but you're not responding the way that the karmics or the side pieces would normally respond to this person. They are looking for a sign that you are just like the rest. They're having a hard time finding it. Let me see. How are you responding to their little shenanigans? How are you responding, Divine Feminine? Because they're going to run out. It's going to really start to make them look bad. It's going to make them look foolish that they're over here trying to test you in that way just to give themselves a reason to not fully open up to this connection. They're going to mess around and miss out on a Divine Feminine here. So the way that you are responding, I have the Tower with the Two of Cups. The High Priestess is at the bottom of the deck. The Tower with the Two of Cups and the High Priestess. Let's talk about it. So for you, Divine Feminine, you're like, you know what? I'm going to let them, if that's what they want to do, if they want to bring a tower down on this connection, you're like, all right. If you want to act foolish, let the tower fall. Because if this is how we're starting off, then we already on a rocky foundation any damn way. So you're going with the flow. You are not trying to avoid the tower. You're like, let it fall. Why? Because the Two of Cups is right behind that. You are more than willing to connect with a soulmate. You know that you will attract someone into your life who is mutually, emotionally sound enough to recognize a good thing when they see it and to consistently put forth the effort to build on it. You know that you can attract this type of connection into your life, okay? This is my IC Tarot deck. If you want to order it off my website, you can definitely get yours. So you are willing to let the tower fall with this person. So with the High Priestess here, it also indicates that many of you respond with silence. You don't give this person any words. You're just like, okay, well, I text him 3 hours ago. Typically he's consistent, but today he's acting a little different. Or he didn't respond until the next day. Or suddenly he's starting to, seem like he's being very cold and detached, just wanting to be like, just frozen in his energy, but not showing anything emotionally to let you know that he's feeling you beyond a friendship, right? Many of you are like, okay, you go into silence. You start evaluating yourself. You start tapping in like, okay, spiritual team, what y'all want me to know? What do you want me to do? Is there anything that you want me to focus on within myself? You turn inward because you know that ultimately you will attract your soulmate into your life. You are not worried. You are not afraid of this tower coming down with this masculine. You may even consider like, okay, well, yeah, he still got some transformations that he needs to go through. So you're like, all right, let the tower fall. Let the tower fall. Let's see what else. So we have the Four of Cups. Okay. It doesn't mean that it doesn't bother you emotionally, though, because you care about this person a lot. But are you going to be all up in their face? Are you going to create arguments with them like, why you not showing me love? Hell no. That's something that you might have done with the karmics before you healed, sure. But in your healed state, you don't need no validation from anybody, not even your divine masculine. You don't need validation from any human being. You only seek from the Most High Mother and Father and your spiritual team to know that you are on the right path and that you are continuing to do what's necessary to become the best version of yourself. That's it, and that's all. So even though it may hurt, you're also optimistic about the future. You like, look, I'm gonna look ahead. I'm planning. Some of y'all take that energy and you exert it. Like I said, you turn it inward. So some of you focus on doing your spiritual work. I mean, she's looking like she's been working out really well. Some of you say, you know what, I'm going to go focus on my health. I'm going to focus on, getting my body more toned and doing my skincare routine and focusing in on my creative pursuits and loving on my babies and getting out into nature and watering my plants and, experimenting with new recipes. Like you got too much to do. But one thing that you don't do is go into your phone and say, B, C, D, E, F, G. You don't need validation. This masculine is coming out of that space of needing validation, but they're not fully removed from it. That's where it shows a difference in growth and development. You don't need validation, divine feminine, not even from this masculine. Look at that, the Ace of Cups, because you love yourself too much. The sun is at the bottom of the deck. You're like, look, I'm out. I'm melanin popping, 9 of Pentacles. Listen, life is too damn good for you to be sitting up here. You don't chase any doggone body. I don't care. Twin flame, divine masculine, soul mate. It does not matter. Divine feminine is solely focused on becoming the best version of herself. Look at that. The star card is right behind that. Shit. This masculine, he's almost there, y'all. Now, I will say that because I'm not just going to bash him. He's almost at the finish line. But if he does not get over himself and come out of that ego and stop playing games with you and doing subtle things in order to try to prove to himself that you ain't the right one and to prove to himself that you just like the rest and to prove to himself that you ain't the one that he should be settling down with because he afraid of commitment and he don't really want to let everybody go because he's afraid of being vulnerable and that his heart is just going to get completely destroyed if he allows himself to be too open after, removing everybody from his call log and no longer responding to calls. Woo. He better go on sit down somewhere because you love yourself too much. Like I said, he's going to miss out on the beautiful love of the divine feminine. So let me see. I'm going to take a couple of cards to close out. What does this masculine need to know? If he continues on this pathway of doing these little petty things to try to test you out, divine feminine, what is the outcome for him? Because see, one thing about these divine unions, divine masculine and divine feminine, your spiritual team don't play. When it's time to level up and align with your purpose, these divine unions are a part of your purpose. It's a part of your fate. When it's time to align with these things, when people play games and they don't go with the flow of where their spiritual team is guiding them to go, they call negative energy to themselves. And then now they got to go through certain cycles and repeat certain, karmic lessons all over again. If this masculine does not come out of this space and allow himself to reach that finish line of transformation, what can he expect? Look at that. No exit. Is that not clear, y'all? No exit. He will find himself walking and treading the same path with no forward movement. A large part of the divine masculine's evolving growth and forward movement on his journey is directly connected to the divine feminine. And if he completely treads on this connection and sabotages this connection because of his own ego, he will be on a hamster wheel of the same cycle with no exit. This is a big deal. So this says, trapped in a situation with no exit or escape, experiences a perpetual return to the same situations, trapped in an infinite loop with no escape, engages in a siphon task that never ends. Okay? Is that siphon task? Okay, that's a new word for me. But it's really the same. They're dancing in circles. Same situation over and over again. Okay, the infinite loop, never ending. And for a lot of them, this also deals with business and finances, because these masculines, they're carrying briefcases. They look like they're going off to work, but it's that cycle of never leveling up, because a large part of their level up is directly connected to the divine feminine, who takes the seeds and nurtures them, who fertilizes the seeds. They need the divine feminine. It's not a codependent energy. This is a necessary prerequisite for the next level up for the divine masculine in order to rise into his divinity. If he squanders this connection, he is going to be on a loop that he cannot get off of without being connected to the divine feminine. I'm going to take one more card and I'm going to close out, y'all. Look at that, trap. Now they have doubles in these decks here. He's going to stay stuck on that loop with no exit, and he's going to constantly fear being trapped. So he will never allow himself to be fully vulnerable. Yep. So really what's going to happen is he's going to open up and become vulnerable with the wrong person. And that thing that he feared the most with you, divine feminine, is going to become his reality with the karmic, that he ultimately ends up choosing, thinking that, okay, well, whatever. I didn't do right by the divine feminine. Fine. I can go get with somebody else. Nope. He won't be worthy of a connection that does not create pain for him. You, on the other hand, divine feminine, will be worthy of a connection outside of the divine masculine, just off the strength that you're operating from integrity. You are openly aligning yourself with what is fated. And if he is, in fact, a part of your next level up, a part of the next phase of your journey, you are being open and honest and transparent with this person, opening your arms and your heart to him. But you will be worthy of another connection that is a soulmate connection that will still allow you to flourish and to find happiness in your life and peace and sensuality and luxury and all of these other things, just off the strength that you was willing to take the journey and you operated from integrity. So your spiritual team will grant you another masculine who is just as much in alignment for you. So that's my message for you all. Like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to y'all next time.